the quality type of clients, they're not going to resonate with that. In fact, it's going to make a lot of people kind of feel like shit. It's going to be a turnoff. It is. And again, you could say, well, I've seen tons of people doing this and they're getting tons of people commenting and liking and all their stuff. They are, but we don't know, are they real? Are those people paid for? And the conversions aren't there. You know how I know? Because those people are coming to me right now, wanting me to help them and fix what's wrong, because all of that type of marketing that they were doing before for years worked, and now it's not. And they're in a full-on panic because now you got to get vulnerable. Now you got to be real with the people. You can't just rely on these like glamorous shots and vanity metrics. It's not cutting it anymore. People require more to have trust now. If your content hasn't been converting and it feels like you're throwing your soul into posts that get crickets, hours and hours on a video and still nothing, then you even tried posting more. And if I post more like all these other people say that they do, then I'm going to get more results. But then that doesn't happen for you either. You are not losing it. 2025 hit the online space like an energetic earthquake. People's nervous systems are fried, buyers are cautious, and the old way of creating just doesn't land anymore. Your audience didn't ghost you. They shut down. They're overwhelmed, overstimulated, and scanning for safety, not protection. And no one taught you how to adjust when the collective energy shifts this way and this hard. So today I'm giving it to you straight. There's a spiritual reason your content stopped hitting, and there is a strategic fix that will get people paying attention again and paying you again. No fluff, no do more of this, do more of that, no shame, just the real reason your messaging stopped converting and the exact energetic and messaging adjustments that will make people feel you, trust you, and buy from you again. You're not the problem. Your strategy just needs a recalibration and your energy needs a reset. Let's dive in and get your momentum back on track. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your relationships, your abundance, and everything in between. I need to give a disclosure at the top of this episode that I am now officially highly medicated. I for sure have a sinus infection, and we are not about that life. So I have pumped my system with all sorts of things in order for me to be able to show up regardless. And I am unavailable for being sick. I'm unavailable for these things. So I just thought it was important for me to let you know that there is no filter. And typically, there's not much of one anyway. If you've been listening here for a while, you certainly know that. And now there really isn't one at all. So you're welcome in advance. Want you to hear this from me. Just because there are more people online than ever, and just because it looks like everyone's doing what you're doing, there's so many people podcasting, there's so many coaches, there's so many people teaching TikTok tips, there's so many people who have Amazon storefronts. That doesn't mean that there aren't just as many people who are open, present, and ready to buy. The reach is massive, but attention, trust, and readiness to convert have drastically changed. So you have got to shift with the times. Think about when things were more analog, and some of you don't even know when those times were. You were too young or it didn't exist. And offices, medical groups, accounting firms, law firms, they were forced to digitize, and it was a big pain in the ass for them to do so and a big expense. But if they didn't get hip to the skip, they weren't going to be in business. This is the same conversation that I was having when I started my first business that I still have 18 years later, my digital marketing and branding agency in the pharmaceutical, medical, and health supplement sector. And I would say to potential clients, you don't start leveraging social media and having that as a key marker in your marketing strategy instead of just like traditional ways of marketing, like radio ads, print ads, TV ads, newspaper ads, press releases, that kind of thing. you're going to be left behind, and getting ahead of it, this will be a major payoff. And that's how a lot of people ended up signing up for me. And I had the true conviction of it. And I knew that was the deal. Isn't it funny, though, that I was able to sell people on doing that and I had conviction, yet I had so much resistance around leveraging social media at that time for my own personal brand, for my own goals, for my own endeavors, all the mind fuckery of having a business. It's a lot easier selling stuff that you're kind of removed on in like an agency format than selling your own. But I digress. We have to bob and weave. We have to flow with what is going on. And some of you, and yes, I'm calling you out, want to keep stuffing that square peg into a wrong hole. Wow, we've already started there. I really want to stop and re-record, and there's no point because I will just talk about more wrong holes. But you know what I meant. Square peg into a round hole. And you want it to work because it's easier if you can just keep doing what you've been doing, what feels familiar, what feels safe. But it also doesn't work because it's not working for you and you're not making the money that you want to be making, and the sales aren't happening, the engagement isn't happening, and there's holes in the boat. The ship's, quite frankly, for some of you, the ship's kind of like starting to sink, or you're having to really scramble and you're burning yourself out. It's not sustainable in order to keep afloat. And that's not a long-term plan. Okay. So I'm going to break it down of what is no longer working first, and that old paradigm that is dead. So vague posts like manifest your dream life, raise your vibration to attract abundance, that once worked and resonated. Okay. But now they're lost in the noise. Oh, you want to take aligned action. You need to go all in on your dreams. I used that language as well, and I meant that language, and I would still mean it saying it today, but it doesn't stick out. It's like old news. It's like a one-hit wonder song that's been played so many times, you don't want to hear it anymore, but it might make a comeback. So in a time where buyer psychology shifted and oversaturation is happening, generic spiritual messaging has become easy to disassemble, to dismiss. Any kind of generic messaging, we can't take any more in our brains. We have been infiltrated between political shit, world news shit, local news shit, family shit, money stuff. Got to do this. Don't do this. Then you add on top of it, you're a parent. You add on top of it, you're a woman, or you're a man, and you have all the things that are put on you for that. You need to make more money. You need to be skinnier. We've got images coming at us. We've got more data coming all over the place with AI. And it's like, we truly, our brains can only take so much in at a time. That's a medical fact. So it's going to naturally weed out stuff that's kind of basic, that's low lying, that has a low frequency. And that's why that stuff's not working. It's not because you're not being genuine and you're not a good person and you're not excellent at what you do. It's that you're speaking on a phone with a mute button on. Okay. When the median engagement rate on major platforms has gotten as low as 0.36%, your content needs to work harder and smarter emotionally and strategically to break through to people. I hope you heard that percentage, 0.36%. And I'm not saying that is the case for everyone, but a lot of you who are complaining about your number of views and your comments, you actually have incredible engagement rates on your stuff. The look at me visuals, polished feeds, aesthetic over substance stuff, the idea of like the pretty aesthetic equals trust and interest has lost its power in 2025. Billions of users and massive saturation, aesthetics alone is not enough to build trust. There's too many people who got on that bandwagon with the millennial pink, with the perfectly curated office, with all the great fits, with you have like all your little influencery boss baby friends. It's just not hitting. And I know what some of you are thinking. Yeah, but I still see people posting that kind of content and they're getting tons of views and likes. And honey, there's no way they're getting conversions. And a lot of these people, even people who have been around a long time. They're paying for views, likes, and comments. They're boosting almost every single one of their posts in order to keep up the facade. All right. So don't buy into all of that stuff. Posts with no emotional depth or relatability are being skipped. People want the fucking truth. They're tired of being lied to. They're tired of the shit. They're tired of the shim shams. They just want someone who's just going to give it to them straight. And sometimes I'll sit here and be like, listen, I've been doing that all fucking along here. You can go back to 2018. I've been doing that. I was a little ahead of the curve, for what a lot of people didn't want that I was putting out, but the right people did. My fellow crazies did. My empaths, my intuitives, my highly sensitives, my trauma survivors did. My people who want real success and are going to, plan the work and work the plan and show up and do the thing, you wanted to hear it. But the masses, they wanted the candy coated fantasy marketing stuff. But those people are even tired of it. I am doing a flash extension on my Black Posse. Oh my God. I'm unwell. I'm going to keep all this in here so you guys can laugh at this. My Black Posse sale. That's amazing. Okay. My Black Friday sale. I'm doing a flash extension. I know a lot of you in the US were traveling during Thanksgiving and we're taking phone breaks, and I honor that. And I am going to close the sale tomorrow on December 5th. And you're not going to want to miss the live training in the Posse this week. All right. That is my business and money coaching membership with weekly live trainings. This is not an information fest that's going to make you more overwhelmed and give yourself like a long to-do list. This is where you go for the momentum, for the accountability, and for structured, clear guidance to get the cash and to bring the joy back in your business. Period. End of story. The training, how do I sell when my audience isn't buying? The new psychology of what makes people say yes. And I'm teaching you the 3 signals buyers look for before even considering an offer. That alone, I'm paid $3,800 to teach on a regular basis. And this is going to be heavily focused on the new way to do it. And you're going to be able to implement what I'm teaching you immediately, like that day. So you want to get in here, go to projectmewithtiffany.com/BF 2025, projectmewithtiffany.com/BF 2025. You can swipe up. That link is also in the show notes here. It is in the description on YouTube at Project Me TV. If you want to watch me medicated right now, you can head on over there and subscribe. Also, my exclusive 2-month private business coaching applications are open for the last time this year. And that's the only way you can access that application is by going into the show notes. You want to work with me at a high level and truly set yourself up to have everything customized, from your messaging, from your offers, from your repositioning, from having a profitable content plan to having a true launch process that's rinse and repeat, that feels good to you, that works with your nervous system versus robbing your nervous system. And you know that you need to make adjustments and you want to get there as fast as possible in the direct route. That's the move to go. That's the highest level way to work with me. And that is also inside the show notes. I really hope I can find my place in my notes because I'm telling you, words are really starting to morph into one another. Oh, look. Okay, here we go. Listicles and tip dumps, value posts without resonance. And we all did these 5 ways to grow your business, 3 mindset tips for success. Those are now the new background noise. When engagement rates are so low, only content that emotionally lands and feels relevant is going to convert. The data shows that the tips and tricks content does not perform well anymore in a saturated feed. It's not because it's not helpful. Listen, there's pieces of content. I have some high value carousels that we spent a long fucking time creating, and I was pissed. And it didn't really do well. I got a lot of saves, so I knew how great the content was. People don't want it. They can't take it in anymore in that way. And I kept trying it because I was getting irritated. Like, but I'm telling you exactly how to do the thing so you can get exactly what you want and you can make the money, honey. Like, I'm giving you the sauce and I'm actually giving it to you for free, which is insane. It doesn't matter. Imagine handing someone the best sandwich in the world with the best sauce, fresh ingredients, crispy lettuce. I'm very hungry right now. And you hand it to someone who just came out of having a steak dinner. It doesn't matter. They're not going to take the sandwich. I want you to look at it like that. Their cup is fulleth over. Okay. It has no more room to take more in. It wants it. They want you to hold space. They want it to be a soft pause, not where you are enabling them, but where they're able to feel seen, heard, and understood at a level of depth. And to do things at a level of depth, it's going to take you more bandwidth and work when you've been used to doing just these like tips and tricks. AI can't do that much for you. And if you're overly reliant on AI and you're telling it like, oh, well, sound emotional and do this and do that. And listen, I'm a master. I've coached TIFF AI that I've programmed for 2 years. All right. Like I know how to work it very well because I'm unwell in the mind. And I feel you have to be really wackadoo in the mind to know how to prompt it properly. And it doesn't matter because it can get you like 70% there. It's a wonderful tool and it can save you a shit ton of time, but you've got to be willing to put your heart into it and not rely on a bot to do that. Posting more, hustling harder, hoping for conversions. I'm seeing you guys like doubling down on frequency and you're just chasing trends and you're doing what this person's doing and that person is doing. And I see people who are doing like 50 posts a week challenges on TikTok, and it's not sustainable. You're going to fry out. And then it's going to just be this confirmation bias that nothing is working. So here's what's working: emotional honesty and realness over hype. And I don't even want to use the word authentic because that word's fucking overused too. And it can't just be authentic. Authentic isn't going to cut it. It's got to be raw and real. And I know some of you are going, but I don't want to share all the stuff like what you share, Tiff. Like, I don't want to go that deep. You don't have to go as deep as me. It's all about discernment. There's a lot of shit y'all don't know about me, like present, past, all of it that you don't know and you would be shooketh by that I don't share. Okay, I have enough shit to share. I don't need to share it all. Okay? Content that acknowledges burnout, confusion, fear, vulnerability resonates more than polished illusions. In a world where users are overwhelmed, emotional safety and realness stand out. Audiences respond when you speak their pain aloud, especially after a chaotic year. Now, there's a lot of people out there, and I don't disagree with them. I would love to have a healthy debate with some of these people who teach, oh, well, you should only be talking to people's desired outcomes, right? The transformations, what they're wanting. So then you see people post this aspirational like content, like I'm on a private jet and I just had another $100,000 day. And I'm not saying that that isn't important to have that in there, at some level. But if that is all you're posting, the quality type of clients, they're not going to resonate with that. In fact, it's going to make a lot of people kind of feel like shit. It's going to be a turnoff. It is. And again, you could say, well, I've seen tons of people doing this and they're getting tons of people commenting and liking and all their stuff. They are, but we don't know, are they real? Are those people paid for? And the conversions aren't there. You know how I know? Because those people are coming to me right now, wanting me to help them and fix what's wrong, because all of that type of marketing that they were doing before for years worked and now it's not, and they're in a full-on panic because now you got to get vulnerable. Now you got to be real with the people. You can't just rely on these like glamorous shots and vanity metrics. It's not cutting it anymore. People require more to have trust now. Whereas before, there was a lot of surface level stuff and people would take you for face value. Not anymore. Not in 2025 and 2026. Trust first content, clarity, specificity, relevance over trends. Okay. So You have to build trust in your content in the first 5 to 8 seconds. Yes. And you're like, what? How do I do that? Oh, I teach this in the posse. You want it customized to you? You'd have to work with me privately, but we teach this in the posse for $3 a day. So don't, that's a no brainer. Okay. And I will be raising the price, the membership. So if you want to make sure you're grandfathered in, I would get in there now. You know where to go. So that means leading with specificity and details and real pain points, not vague promises. So instead of chasing like virality, I want you to choose to go deeper and have genuine connection and resonance with people. And that doesn't just happen with the words that come out of your mouth. It happens with first, your energy walks into the room or walks onto the screen before you even say anything. It's your demeanor, how you carry yourself, your tone of voice, your pace of voice. They want that version. They don't want the version of now, bye, do, or else you got to do that. That is not what a majority of people are wanting. You've got to have a multi-touch strategy now. Content plus real communication plus follow-up. So the 2025 data shows that relying on social media alone is not going to be enough for conversion. To get consistent results, you need a layered content marketing strategy, which is what I've always taught from the beginning, which is why I truly feel why my boat has not sunk. You know, why I'm in it for the long haul, why I have two multi-million dollar businesses over 18 years, completely different business models. I always want to have different touch points, a diversified portfolio of touch points, emails, DMs, a community, i.e., right, my posse membership, the podcast. Then we have my Secret Posse Weekly Digest that's in my for my emails. I have been thinking, and I know a lot of you want me to do a Substack. I'm like, oh, more content. The only way I'd consider doing a Substack is this shit's going to be like rogue. That's the only thing I'm available for. And I will see. I might get into a spot where I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm doing it. But it's not going to be anything other than like pure wildness because I refuse to do anything else. But you've got to have these additional touch points. One, when people have lost trust in themselves, in the world, and what the hell is going on in the universe, even in particular industries and a variety of industries, why they need more touch points isn't just like, oh, it's a statistic. You need to, 9 to 12 times before someone buys something. The psychology behind it is think about someone you're just meeting that's new. You build trust with that person faster or more likely to the more times you encounter them, right? Versus only encountering someone once in a great while. And so you're increasing your odds of building that trust much faster with them experiencing you more often in many different ways. And trust is required in order to have sales. Without trust, you don't have sales. So I'm telling people now who are applying to work with me in my 2-month private business coaching program, I've said to a few people, I know you think it's a sales problem. You actually have a trust problem. And it's not that you are not a trustworthy person. It's that you're not doing enough for them to be able to see the real you. And what once worked, you could get away with like a layer or two, very surfacey, you could get away with. And it's just not going to cut it anymore. And that challenges about a million things in our psyche. Like, you want a real personal development, advanced training, start a business. Positioning and messaging that reflects buyer's reality. You want to use language that matches what people are silently thinking. Uncertainty, overwhelm, lost trust, feeling done with the hype. Speak to their actual lived experience, not the idealized version of success. And I know, once again, me even saying this to you can be like, God, I know I'm fucking tired of that. And that's a trick for you. What are you fucking tired of seeing come across your feed, come across your email? What are you tired of? And what you're tired of, is what you need to not do and do the opposite. That's how I entered the space. I was tired of the bullshit in 2018. It's only gotten worse. I think that's why I have so many long-term clients that buy from me, various offers of mine. It's like 91% buy from me over and over again. Because once someone knows that they can trust you and they feel safe with you, they're going to keep going with that plan. Same here. I have my same coaches. I have my same hairstylist. I mean, I have the same person who's been doing my eyebrows, okay? Like I'm not going to break what's not broken. But I've been doing this depth for a long time because I was already so sick. I have no palate for fake, but now it's even less. I've even noticed. So psychoanalyze yourself. And what would feel refreshing for you to come across your feed? What would feel like a giant exhale, like finally someone's fucking said it. Maybe you're supposed to be the person who says it, which I know is feels risky and vulnerable, and perhaps you are that person. I had to have this conversation with myself this year. I was like, maybe I'm the person who has to say it. Great. Niche specific. What broke? What do I do now? Examples. Okay. So here's what isn't working anymore for a manifestation coach: generic manifesting posts, vibration raising language, airy spiritual promises, all swallowed by the noise and buyer exhaustion. They're over it. What works now? Honesty about burnout, spiritual authenticity with emotional depth, grounded spiritual plus business content. Speak to the spiritual pain and human overwhelm. Let's do an example for service based, like copywriter, offer providers. What's not working? Copy heavy tips and tricks, salesy messaging that's neither like resonant or non trust building. It just is going to underperform in the cautious buyer economy. I'm going to show you how to do copywriting to where you're going to make thousands of dollars per post. It's like, it sounds nice, but you got to give me more than that. That's what people are thinking. What works now? Empathetic, problem naming, clarity driven storytelling, messaging that meets the current emotional state, the value offer, the trust building copy. That's the stuff that works. Even with me saying the whole thing about AI, like, okay, AI can be a great tool and it shaves off a lot of time if you know what the fuck you're doing and you know how to work the tool. I mean, there's a lot of people that can pick up a paintbrush. Very few know how to paint. There's actual like talent and techniques to being able to paint things and be a great painter. It's no different with AI. It's just a digital tool. But what AI can't replicate, it doesn't know all of your stories, even if you talk into it all the time. And it doesn't have the same vibration of your heart and your energy. Where's that? Where's that in your content? Can't you feel it? Those of you who subscribe to my ProjectME Secret Posse Weekly Digest, I know I get a lot of replies from you guys that really feel my emails and really appreciate them. And my videos, my posts, the podcast episodes, that's why my guess is that's why you keep listening. I mean, yes, it's helpful, but you're also getting something deeper out of it than just like how-to stuff. So what is it you really like about that, and how can you apply that for your own people? Let's use an example of branding, like with my Posse membership. What doesn't work? Hard sell, scarcity messages, hype-based offers, quick fixes. They feel tone deaf when anxiety and buyer caution is at a peak, okay? What is working now? Soft, safe invitation, so soft selling, emotionally intelligent sales messaging, support based offers, trust first community, grounded conversation about today's buying climate, which is literally what I'm doing here now. And I will be having an upcoming training in the Posse on soft selling, which is going to be an added module that I'm going to do inside Selling with Soul, my signature program that typically launches in the first quarter of the year, so of 2026. And I already have a soft selling style, but it's a nuanced style that I know for so many of you who highly feel will really, really pick up quickly. So let's talk about soft sell CTAs. All right. Let's look at this. So when you are doing a soft sell, and it can sound something like this. It's a gentle invitation. Okay. I don't mean it like it's passive. Passive meaning if this sounds, join the, if you feel like you're ready now, come join my famous Project Be Posse business and money coaching membership. Nah, no, no, no. We still have to activate people, but not dysregulate them. That's what I mean by it's nuanced, which is why these are actual trainings I do that's, you know, is more required than what I could teach in a podcast episode. Okay. So if you're tired of posting into the void and you're tired of the low engagement and inconsistent results, and you know something needs to change, and you have to even do it on a cellular level, your messaging, your strategy, even your approach. And while it's uncomfortable, you know you're being called and it's time. And this is where your next level of expansion is. And you would love to have the guidance and the support and the accountability to follow through and do some new things that can feel really vulnerable and scary. Well, tomorrow inside the posse, I'm teaching exactly how to sell to cautious buyers using aligned messaging, emotional clarity, and strategic flow in a way that's going to feel safe and secure to them and to you in the way we present it. That's what I mean by soft selling. Do you see what the difference is there? And then I could cap it off with I've done a flash extension until tomorrow on December 5th. You can go to projectmewithtiffany.com/BF 2025 and get in. If the page says membership is full, we cannot make any exceptions and add anyone else at this time. We keep this membership set at an intimate size so that I can, in integrity, refer to it as a group coaching style membership, so there's not thousands of people in there where you're lost. That's no one has something like this, and certainly not at $3 a day. Okay. So you know what to do, you know where to go, and going nowhere is going to get you nowhere. So you telling yourself some wackadoo story, which I understand because I have Polly Pissy Pants stories. I had many of them this year. You've heard a lot of them on the podcast. I want to just disappear for December and I'll come back in 2026. And then like magically everything will be different and everything will be okay. I just want to go to an island. Listen, I did disappear. I disappeared to Europe this year. I disappeared to Abundance Island. Like I've done all that. And guess what? Wherever you go, there you are. And then you have just a lot more time to think about all of the things. And it sounds like a fantasy, but you can't really escape what you're meant to do. You're being called to do the things that you do, the work that you do, the gifts, the talents, the wisdom and experience you have. You're being called to pay that forward to the world and to the people you're meant to help, or you wouldn't have this desire to have a business, to help the people, to put it out there. You would be satisfied just doing your own thing, working for whatever company and living your life. And there's nothing wrong with that. And a majority of the world is totally fine with that. And that's okay. But that's not your path. And because that's not your path, you know, it's going to come with twists and turns that occur. And you disappearing is not a nervous system regulation plan. We can regulate our nervous systems. We can have the beautiful reset button of using December to do that, which is the podcast episode before this. If you've not listened to it, you need to listen to it or maybe listen to it again. You can go on the abundance walks. You can do somatic exercises. You can take extra baths. You can have digital detoxes. You can do all of those things to recalibrate your nervous system while you're also actively manifesting and taking action towards shifting your approach and your strategy and your messaging for your business. Both are true. Both can happen at the same time. It's not an all or nothing thing. That's a fear-based trauma response, is the black and white thinking. I'm either all in, grinding, coming back full force, doing all the things, rebranding, different offer, blah, 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 or I'm like checked out. I know that world. I lived that world for a very long time. That is That is the fastest way to go insane and to be stuck in the messy middle and a purgatory of your own making. You want to track and stack real wealth. You've got to do the pullback and the recalibration while you're also regrouping and taking actions. Okay. The world changed, the rules changed, but when you match your message to the current energy of your people that you know so well, because like attracts like, and prioritize you showing up in the most genuine, loving, yet affirming action way, you don't just survive and get back to baseline and prevent the boat from sinking. You begin again. This is where you expand. You're being called to show up differently because that's where your next level of abundance is. And I'm honored and privileged to be here to teach you and guide you and hold you accountable to doing that, because it's not easy to go to that level of depth that brings up our stuff, but it's necessary. And you could keep going in the wrong holes. All right. And it's going to keep getting you the same result. And I think you've tried it enough this year. And my guess is you're done. And if you're done and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you're like, okay, I get it. I know what I'm being called to do here. This was happening to prime me and reposition me to come at this at a different level. Then you know where to access the posse. It's the final 24 hours to do so. Flash extension going on right now. Swipe up. That link is in the show notes. Also, the application for my 2-month private business coaching program. I only take 4 people at a time. Okay. So that is for you if you want to make sure that you set yourself up so your success is inevitable. And only you can do that. Only you know what you need to do in order to feel the most supported, the most secure, the most clear, in order for you to deliver and follow through. It's different for everybody. I'm someone where I need all the things for real. I cannot be left to my own devices. I need all of the guardrails, but it's the right kind of guardrails that I need, but I need them because I can be pretty strong-willed and my overthinking brain can really manipulate me. And then what am I doing? Then I end up self-abandoning. I end up subconsciously self-sabotaging, and that never feels well. Then you get to the end of a year and you're like, I didn't really show up fully as my best. I didn't show up as my highest self as I could have if I had the support, if I allowed myself to have the support, if I took the risk and invested in that support. What would this year look like? What would it have been different? That's a good question to ask yourself. If I had the support that my higher self deserves and requires in order for me to show up as my expanded version and my new identity, where would I be at this year if I had done that all year long? That's why I love the December reset, because you're setting it up now for what you're going to do for 2026. And random fun fact, since it's for your business, it's all a tax deduction when you're working with me. And a lot of you need additional deductions. And as long as you purchase before the end of the year, that is a deduction on your 2025 books. Not that I'm an accountant or a financial advisor, but I could be one at this point with the amount of taxes I pay. Thank you so much. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you so much.